Hyunwoo Park stood at the window of his ship and watched Nexus Prime grow larger. The crystal planet sparkled like a diamond against the black space. Tall towers reached up from its surface, each one home to a different alien race. This was the center of the Galactic Council, where 17 species made decisions for the entire galaxy. "We should be there in 20 minutes, said Sora Kim from behind him. She was his best advisor and had been with him for 10 years. Her voice was calm, but Hyunwoo knew she was worried. They both were. "Something feels wrong about this meeting," Hyunwoo said. He turned away from the window. "The council never calls emergency sessions without warning." Sora nodded. She held a data pad in her hands. "I checked our trade records again. Everything looks normal. Our colonies are doing well. We haven't broken any treaties." Hyunwoo walked to his desk and picked up his formal robes. The blue fabric felt heavy in his hands. As Earth's main ambassador, he had worn these robes to hundreds of meetings. Today they felt like a burden. "Maybe they want to expand our trade agreement," Sora said, but she did not sound like she believed it. The ship docked at the main station. Hyunwoo and Sora walked through the corridors with their small team. Other diplomats moved around them, but no one made eye contact. The usual friendly greetings were missing. Jae-sung Lee met them at the council chamber entrance. The old scientist looked tired. His gray hair was messy, and his usually bright eyes were dark with worry. "Hyunwoo, I am glad you are here," Jae-sung said. "I have been trying to understand what is happening. None of my contacts will talk to me." "What do you mean?" Hyunwoo asked. "The Althari won't return my calls. The Korthak delegation won't even... Look at me. Something big is coming." They entered the council chamber. It was a huge room with a dome ceiling that showed the stars above. 17 tall chairs formed a circle, each one designed for a different alien species. The human seats were small compared to the others. Hyunwoo sat in his chair and looked around. The Althari Prime Speaker, Velthanis, sat across from him. Her blue skin seemed to glow, and her forearms were folded in a way that meant displeasure in her culture. Next to her sat Grixfor, the war marshal of the Korthak Empire. His scales were dark red, almost black, and his yellow eyes stared at the humans with clear hatred. The other species representatives were there too. The gas breathing. Netheri floated in their special tanks. The insect-like Vextar clicked their mandibles nervously. Even the peaceful Luminari, who usually glowed with warm light, seemed dim and cold. Prime Speaker Velthanis stood up. Her voice filled the chamber when she spoke. "We gather today to address a threat to galactic peace," she said. "A species that has shown itself to be dangerous and unpredictable." Hyunwoo felt his heart sink. He knew now why they were here. "The humans," Velthanis continued, "have broken the natural order of our galaxy. They expand too fast. They colonize worlds that should be impossible to live on. They make deals with species that other civilized beings have rejected." War Marshal Grixfor stood up next. His voice was like grinding stones. "Humans do not follow the rules. They find new ways to do things when the old ways work fine. This is dangerous thinking that could spread to other species." Sora leaned over to Hyunwoo. "They are afraid of us," she whispered. Hyunwoo stood up. "May I speak?" he asked. Velthanis nodded, but her expression did not change. "We have followed every treaty," Hyunwoo said. "We have respected every boundary. Yes, we have found ways to live on difficult worlds, but we have not taken anything from anyone. We have made friends with species that others ignored, but we have not forced anyone to join us." "That is exactly the problem," said another voice. It came from Zethkol, the representative of the machine species called the Nexus Core. "You do not understand your place in the galactic order. You think you can change everything." Jae-sung Lee stood up. His voice shook with anger. "I have spent my life building friendships with 12 different species. I have helped solve conflicts that had lasted for centuries. How is that dangerous?" "Because," said Velthanis, "you make others think they can do the same. You make them question why things have always been done in certain ways." Hyunwoo looked around the chamber. He could see the truth in their eyes. They were not angry about broken rules or dangerous actions. They were afraid that humans would inspire other species to be different, to think for themselves, to break free from the Council's control. "We call for a vote," War Marshal Grixvor announced. "Should humanity be removed from the Galactic Council and banned from all core worlds?" The votes came quickly. One by one, each species representative stood and said yes. Even the ones that humans had helped in the past voted against them. Fear was stronger than friendship. When the last vote was counted, Velthanis spoke again. "By unanimous decision, humanity is expelled from the Galactic Council. All humans must leave core world space within 1 galactic standard year. All trade agreements are cancelled. All treaties are void." The chamber was silent. Hyunwoo felt like the air had been sucked out of his lungs. Centuries of careful diplomacy were destroyed in minutes. "We gave you a chance to be part of something greater," Velthanis said. "You chose to be different instead of civilized." Hyunwoo stood up slowly. He looked at each representative in turn. When he spoke, his voice was calm and clear. "You are right about one thing," he said. "We are different. We do not accept that things must always stay the same. We believe every species has the right to grow and change and find their own path among the stars." He turned to leave, then stopped, and looked back. "You want to see what humans can really do when they are free to be themselves? You will get that chance." Sora and Jae-sung followed him out of the chamber. Behind them, the representatives whispered among themselves, but Hyunwoo did not care what they said anymore. As they walked back to their ship, Sora asked, "What do we do now?" Hyunwoo smiled for the first time in hours. "Now we go home and tell our people that we are finally free to show the galaxy what we can really accomplish." The ship left Nexus Prime behind. In the chamber they had left, 17 species congratulated themselves on removing a dangerous threat. None of them realized they had just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. Admiral Taehyun Choi stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched the greatest movement of people in human history. Thousands of ships filled the space around him. Some were huge colony vessels carrying entire cities. Others were small family transports with just a few dozen people. All of them were leaving Council space forever. "Status report," he said to his second-in-command. Commander Min Ji-yoon checked her screens. "Fleet Group 7 has cleared the Althari border. Fleet Group 12 is loading the last families from Kepler Station. We are on schedule, sir." Months had passed since the Council threw humans out of their civilization. 6 months of careful planning and secret preparation. The Council thought humans would beg to come back. They thought wrong. Taehyun walked to the main display. It showed the positions of all human ships and stations. Over 50 million people were moving to the outer edges of the galaxy. The Council called those areas the fringe territories. They said nothing useful could grow there. "Sir, incoming message from Dr. Sunho Kang," said the communications officer. "Put him on screen." Dr. Kang appeared on the display. Behind him, Taehyun could see a huge laboratory filled with strange machines. The old physicist smiled. "Admiral, I have news that will change everything," Dr. Kang said. "We no longer need to hide our real technology. For years, humans had kept their best discoveries secret. They did not want to scare the other species in the Council. Now that was over. "Show me," Taehyun said. The display changed to show technical drawings. "This is our quantum tunnel drive," Dr. Kang explained. "It can move ships twice as fast as anything the Council has, and this is our adaptive terraforming system. It can turn a dead rock into a garden world in 20 years instead of 200. Taehyun stared at the designs. "How long have we had this technology?" 15 years for the drive, 10 years for the terraforming. "We have been very patient, Admiral." Commander Minji whistled softly. "No wonder they were afraid of us." "They knew we were holding back," Dr. Kang continued. "There is more. Our self-replicating construction swarms can build entire space stations from raw asteroids. Our bioadaptive life support can keep humans alive on any world with basic atmosphere." "Why are you telling me this now?" Taehyun asked. "Because Captain Hyunjae Lim just sent a report that changes everything." Captain, please join us. Captain Lim appeared on another part of the screen. She was young, but had proven herself as one of the best scouts in the human fleet. Admiral, she said, I have been exploring the systems the Council gave us. They think these worlds are worthless. They are wrong. She shared her data with the main display. Look at this. The Council species cannot detect exotic matter because their sensors are too old and rigid. But these fringe systems are full of it. There is enough rare material here to build a fleet larger than anything the galaxy has ever seen. Taehyun felt excitement growing in his chest. What else have you found? Quantum crystals that can store enormous amounts of energy, temporal metals that can bend space-time, zero-point matter that could power entire civilizations. The Council threw us into the richest part of the galaxy, and they do not even know it. Dr. Kang nodded. Captain Lim is correct. I have been studying her samples. These materials will let us build technology beyond anything we dreamed possible. There is more news, said another voice. Engineer Dongwoo Nam joined the conversation from his mobile shipyard. I have designed construction platforms that can move between star systems. We do not need to build in one place anymore. We can take our factories with us. Biologist Ye Jin-oh appeared next. And I have created ecosystem packages that can adapt to any world. Plants and animals that work together to create perfect environments in just a few years. Taehyun looked around at all the faces on his screen. These were some of the smartest humans alive, and they were all excited about what they could accomplish. How long before we can start? He asked. We are already starting, Dr. Kang said. The first quantum tunnel drive will be ready next month. The terraforming systems are being loaded onto the colony ships right now. Engineer Nam's mobile shipyards are already building the first wave of advanced vessels. Commander Minji stepped forward. Sir, we are getting reports from other fleet commanders. Everyone is saying the same thing. The outer systems are not just livable, they are perfect for us. It is like they were waiting for humans to find them. Taehyun thought about this. For centuries, humans had tried to fit into the Council's vision of civilization. They had followed the rules and kept their innovations small and careful. They had made themselves smaller so they would not frighten anyone. Send a message to all fleet commanders, he said. Tell them the restrictions are over. Tell them to start building the future we always dreamed of. Over the next few weeks, amazing reports came in from across the fringe territories. Human colonies were not just surviving, they were thriving in ways that shocked even their own people. On the world of Haven's Edge, colonists used the new terraforming systems to turn a frozen planet into a warm ocean world in just 3 months. On Prosperity Station, Engineer Nam's construction swarms built a space habitat for 1 million people using only asteroid materials. The most exciting news came from the research stations. Dr. Kang's teams were discovering new technologies every day. They found ways to communicate instantly across the galaxy. They created energy shields that could protect entire planets. They built machines that could turn any kind of matter into any other kind of matter. But the real surprise came from Captain Lim. She was exploring the furthest edges of human space when she found something incredible. Admiral, she said during one of their regular calls, I have made contact with other species. Not Council species. These are the ones the Council rejected or conquered centuries ago. What do you mean? There are dozens of intelligent species living in the outer systems. The Council said they were too primitive or too dangerous to join galactic civilization. But I have met them, sir. They are not primitive. They are different, just like us. Captain Lim shared images of the species she had found. There were the insectoid Vextar, who could solve mathematical problems faster than computers. There were energy beings called the Luminari, who could travel between stars without ships. There were the stone-like Rockin, who could live in the vacuum of space. They all have one thing in common, Captain Lim said. The Council feared them because they would not change who they were to fit into the Council's idea of proper civilization. Taehyun realized what this meant. Humans were not alone in the fringe. There was an entire community of rejected species, all of them with unique abilities and knowledge. Captain, I want you to make formal contact with these species. Tell them that humans would like to be their friends and allies. Already done, sir. They are very interested in meeting us. It seems our reputation for being different has reached them too. As Taehyun ended the call, he looked out at the fleet around him. When they left council space, humans had been a single species cast out into the darkness. Now they were becoming the center of something much larger. Commander Minji joined him at the window. "Sir, do you think the council knows what is happening out here?" Taehyun smiled. "No, they think we are slowly dying in the outer darkness. They have no idea we are building something that will change the galaxy forever." 3 years had passed since humans left council space. In the crystal towers of Nexus Prime, the alien leaders believed humanity had faded away into the outer darkness. They were completely wrong. Fleet Admiral Seungmin Han stood in the command center of New Terra, the capital world of what humans now called the Terran Commonwealth. Through the wide windows he could see ships coming and going from dozens of different species. The busy spaceport handled more traffic in one day than most council worlds saw in a month. "Admiral, the morning reports are ready," said his aide, a young woman named Ji-won Park. Seung-min took the datapad and read through the numbers. 200 human worlds were now fully operational. The population had grown to over 300 million people. Industrial output was increasing by 20% each month. Most importantly, humans had formed alliances with 43 different species. "These numbers are incredible," he said. 3 years ago we were refugees. Now we are stronger than most council species." Colonial Governor Hai-Wan Park, who was Ambassador Hyun-woo Park's sister, joined them in the command center. She had just returned from inspecting the newest human colonies. "The growth rate is actually accelerating," she reported. "Our newest worlds are reaching full productivity in just 2 years instead of 10. The adaptive terraforming systems keep getting better." "What about our non-human allies?" Seung-min asked. "The Vextar have shared their mathematical processing techniques with our computer systems. The Luminari have taught us how to communicate using quantum entanglement. The Rockin are helping us build structures that can survive supernovas." Industrial Coordinator Woo Jin-bae appeared on the main screen from his orbital factory complex. Behind him, massive construction robots were building a new class of starship. "Admiral, I have the latest production figures," Woo Jin said. "Our shipyards are now producing vessels faster than the Althari, Korthak, and Nethiri combined. But quality is what matters most. These new ships use technology that makes council vessels look like ancient toys." Seung-min studied the ship designs on his screen. The new human vessels were sleek and elegant, but he could see the power hidden beneath their smooth surfaces. They used quantum tunnel drives for speed, adaptive armor that could change properties instantly, and weapon systems based on exotic matter manipulation. "How do we compare to the entire council fleet?" he asked. Woo Jin smiled. "If it came to a direct fight, we would win. But that is not the interesting part. The interesting part is that we could build 10 ships for everyone they could make, and our ships would be ready in half the time. This was possible because humans had changed how they thought about manufacturing. Instead of huge permanent factories, they used swarms of small robots that could build anything anywhere. Instead of rigid production lines, they had adaptive systems that learned and improved constantly. The real breakthrough had come from an unexpected source. Xenoarchaeologist Yuna Seo had been exploring ancient ruins on the edge of human space when she found something incredible. "Admiral," Yuna said as she joined the meeting by quantum communication, "I have news that will change everything." Again, she was speaking from a dig site on the world of Haven's Edge. Behind her, strange crystalline structures rose from the ground like frozen music. "These are precursor ruins," she explained. "The precursors were the first civilization in our galaxy. They vanished millions of years ago, but they left technology behind." Chief Engineer Bo Young-cha appeared on screen next to Yuna. She was covered in dust but grinning with excitement. "We have successfully reverse-engineered 3 major precursor technologies," Bo Young announced. "First, matter-energy conversion that can turn anything into anything else instantly. Second, temporal shields that can protect objects from time itself. Third, consciousness transfer protocols that can move minds between bodies." Seung-min felt his breath catch. These technologies would change not just human civilization, but the nature of existence itself. "Are you certain this is safe?" he asked. "We have tested everything carefully," Yuna assured him. The precursors built safety measures into all their technology. They wanted future civilizations to use their discoveries wisely. There is more, Bo Young added. The ruins contain star maps showing the locations of precursor sites throughout the galaxy. There are hundreds of them. Most are in areas the Council has never explored. Because the Council stopped exploring centuries ago, said another voice. Scout Captain Inho Jiang had been listening to the conversation from his ship at the edge of known space. Captain Jiang, what is your status? Xiong Min asked. I am at the coordinates Yuna provided. Admiral, you need to see this. The main screen changed to show Captain Jiang's view. He was approaching a massive structure floating in space. It looked like a city made of stars and light. This is a precursor archive, Captain Jiang explained. It contains the complete history and knowledge of the first galactic civilization. But that is not the most important thing I found here. What is? I am not alone. There are representatives from 67 different species here. All of them are refugees from Council oppression. They have been waiting for someone like us. The camera showed beings of every imaginable shape and size. Some looked like living crystals. Others were clouds of intelligent gas. A few appeared to be made of liquid metal. They call themselves the outcasts, Captain Jiang continued. Every one of them was rejected by the Council for being too different. They have been hiding in the outer systems for centuries, keeping precursor knowledge safe and waiting for a civilization that would accept diversity. And they want to join us? Xiong Min asked. More than that. They want to help us build something new. A galactic civilization based on cooperation instead of control. Innovation instead of tradition. Freedom instead of fear. Xiong Min looked around the command center. His officers were staring at the screens with amazement. In just 3 years, humans had gone from being expelled refugees to the leaders of a growing alliance that might become the most powerful force in galactic history. What do the outcasts offer? He asked. Yuna answered from the dig site. Knowledge of technologies we have not dreamed of. The crystal beings can manipulate space-time with their thoughts. The gas clouds can predict quantum events. The metal species can merge with machines and control them directly. And what do they want from us? Leadership, Captain Jiang said simply. They have the knowledge and abilities, but they need someone to organize them. Someone who can bring different species together and help them work as equals. They think humans are the right species for that job. Xiong Min walked to the window and looked out at the busy spaceport. Ships from dozens of species were docking and departing in perfect coordination. Human traffic controllers worked alongside Vextar mathematicians and luminary energy shapers. It was organized chaos that somehow worked better than the rigid systems of the Council. Send a message to all human commanders, he decided. Tell them we are about to become something bigger than just the Terran Commonwealth. We are going to build the galaxy that should have existed all along. Governor Haiwan smiled. The Council wanted to get rid of one annoying species. Instead, they created the foundation for a new galactic order. Do you think they know what is happening yet? Asked Industrial Coordinator Wu Jin. Xiong Min shook his head. The Council stopped paying attention to the outer systems long ago. They think nothing important can happen outside their control. By the time they realize what we have built, it will be too late for them to stop it. He looked back at the screen showing precursor ruins, outcast species, and human colonies thriving beyond all expectations. 3 years ago, they kicked us out because they were afraid of change. Now we are going to show them what real change looks like. The alarm bells rang through the Council chamber on Nexus Prime. For the first time in 300 years, the Galactic Council faced a real crisis. War Marshal Grixvor stood before the emergency assembly, his red scales darker than usual with stress. The Void Devourers have returned, he announced to the shocked representatives. Our outer defense fleets have been destroyed. 17 worlds have already fallen. Prime Speaker Velthanis rose from her chair. Her blue skin had lost its usual glow. How is this possible? We defeated the Devourers 800 years ago. They should not have the strength to return. They have evolved, Grixvor replied grimly. Their ships now use quantum viral weapons that turn our technology against us. Our best battle fleets cannot even damage their vessels. The chamber erupted in panicked voices. Representatives from 17 species all talked at once, but none had solutions. The Galactic Council had been at peace for so long that they had forgotten how to fight a real war. "We need reinforcements," said Zethkol from the Nexus Core. "Call all military forces back to defend the core worlds." "That will not be enough," Grixvor said. "We need help from outside the Council. We need allies." Velthanis looked around the chamber. "What allies? We have controlled this galaxy for millennia. Everyone answers to us." "Not everyone," Grixvor said quietly. "There are the outcasts, the species we rejected over the centuries. They might help us if we ask." "Absolutely not," Velthanis snapped. "We will not beg inferior species for assistance." But as more reports came in, the Council's position grew worse. The Devourers were not just destroying worlds, they were converting them. Every ship they captured became part of their fleet. Every world they took became a factory for more weapons. 3 weeks into the crisis, Grixvor made a decision that shocked the entire Council. He sent a message to every non-Council species in the galaxy, including the humans. President Kyung-ho Ryu received the message while meeting with his advisors on New Terra. The human leader read it carefully, then looked up at the faces around the table. "The Korthak War Marshal is asking for our help," he said. "The same being who voted to expel us from civilized space now wants us to save that space." Intelligence Director Sujin Han leaned forward. "Our scouts have confirmed the reports. The Devourers are real and they are winning. Council forces are falling back on all fronts." "What do we know about these Void Devourers?" asked Admiral Shungmin Han. "Ancient enemy from outside our galaxy," Sujin replied. "They consume energy and matter to grow their fleets. The more they take, the stronger they become. The Council barely defeated them 800 years ago by using precursor weapons." "Precursor? Weapons that they no longer understand," added Dr. Sunho Kang. "We have studied the old records. The Council has lost most of their advanced technology through centuries of comfortable peace." President Kyung-ho read the message again. "War Marshal Grixvor offers us full readmission to the Council and equal status if we help them." "What is your response, Mr. President?" asked Admiral Sungmin Kyung-ho smiled coldly. "Send this reply. The Council made their position clear 3 years ago. We are not their allies." The message caused an uproar on Nexus Prime. Some Council members wanted to offer humans even more rewards. Others insisted they could win without outside help. While they argued, more worlds fell to the Devourers. The situation changed when Intelligence Director Sujin intercepted Council military communications. She brought her findings to President Kyung-ho immediately. "Sir, I have been monitoring Council defense networks," she reported. "Their situation is worse than they admit publicly. They have lost 60% of their military forces. Their remaining fleets are using technology that is centuries out of date." "How are they losing so badly?" asked Admiral Sungmin. "The Devourers adapt to any attack pattern. Council forces use the same tactics they have used for hundreds of years. They cannot think of new ways to fight because they have not needed to innovate for so long." President Kyung-ho studied the battle reports. "What about their weapons?" "Powerful but predictable. The Devourers have learned to absorb energy weapons and reflect projectile attacks. Council ships are being destroyed faster than they can be replaced. And the worlds that have fallen?" Sujin's expression grew dark. "Complete conversion. The Devourers turn every living being into part of their collective consciousness. Every ship and station becomes part of their fleet. They are not just conquering the Council, they are consuming it. That changed everything. This was not just about the Council anymore. If the Devourers won, they would eventually reach human space in the outcast worlds." "Send a message to Admiral Tae Hyun Choi," President Kyung-ho decided. "Tell him to take the 3rd Fleet to Kepler's crown, but he is not going there to save the Council. He is going to evacuate civilians." Kepler's crown was a beautiful world with floating cities and crystal forests. It was also home to 4 million innocent beings who had nothing to do with the Council's politics. When the Devourers attacked, Admiral Tae-hyun arrived with 50 human ships. The battle that followed shocked both sides. The Devourer fleet expected easy prey. Instead, they faced technology they had never seen before. Human ships did not use the same predictable tactics as Council forces. They moved in impossible patterns using quantum tunnel drives. Their weapons changed constantly, shifting from energy beams to exotic matter missiles to temporal disruption fields. Tactical Coordinator Mi-kyung Lee watched the battle from the flagship's bridge. "The Devourers cannot adapt fast enough," she reported. "Every time they adjust to one weapon system, we switch to something completely different. That is because we learned to innovate," Admiral Tae-hyun replied. "They learn to consume. Innovation beats consumption every time." The human fleet did not just fight the Devourers. They systematically dismantled them. Ships that had been unstoppable against Council forces were torn apart by weapons that changed faster than the Devourers could understand. But the real message came when Admiral Tae-hyun opened communications to the entire galaxy. Mi-kyung broadcast on all frequencies so every species would hear. "This is the Terran Commonwealth Fleet," she announced. "We offer sanctuary to all beings who seek freedom from tyranny, whether from ancient Devourers or the Council's chains. Our worlds are open to refugees of all species. Our protection extends to any who ask for it." The response was immediate. Ships from dozens of species began moving toward human space. Some were fleeing the Devourers. Others were leaving Council worlds that could no longer protect them. On Nexus Prime, the Council watched their civilization crumble. In 3 weeks, they had lost more territory than in the previous 3 centuries. Their fleets were scattered. Their worlds were in panic. War Marshal Grixvor stood before the emergency session once again. This time his message was simple. "We cannot win this war with our current resources," he admitted. "Our only choice is to accept whatever terms the humans offer." "Never," Prime Speaker Velthanis declared. "We are the rightful rulers of this galaxy." "Then you can rule over empty space," Grixvor replied. "Because that is all that will be left if the Devourers continue their advance." He turned to address the entire assembly. "I am sending an unconditional surrender to President Kyung-ho Ryu. I am offering him command of all Council military forces and full authority to act as he sees fit." The chamber erupted in angry voices, but Grixvor ignored them. He had seen the battle reports from Kepler's crown. He had watched 50 human ships destroy a Devourer fleet that had crushed 3 Council battle groups. The humans had become something the Council never expected. They had become the galaxy's protectors, whether the galaxy wanted protection or not. President Kyung-ho received the surrender message while meeting with representatives from 40 different outcast species. He read it aloud to the assembled delegates. "They offer us everything they once denied us," he said. "Full membership, equal status, joint command of their forces." "What will you tell them?" asked the Vextar ambassador. President Kyung-ho looked around the room at beings the Council had rejected for centuries. All of them had found welcome in human space. All of them were now part of something larger than any single species. "I will tell them that we already have everything we need," he decided, "and that we are willing to share it with anyone who wants to join us as equals." 6 months after the Devourer War ended, Ambassador Hyunwoo Park stood once again on Nexus Prime. But everything had changed. The crystal towers still reached toward the stars, but now they housed representatives from over 100 different species instead of just 17. He walked through corridors that had once felt cold and unwelcoming. Now they buzzed with activity, as beings from across the galaxy worked together on projects that would have been impossible under the old Council system. "It is strange being back here," said Sora Kim, who had remained his advisor through all. "The changes. Not strange," Hyunwoo replied. "Just different. Better." They entered what had once been the Council chamber. The old circle of 17 chairs was gone. Instead, the room had been redesigned with flexible seating that could accommodate any species. Representatives sat in groups based on their current projects rather than their species type. President Kyung-ho Ryu was already there, meeting with former Council leaders. The conversation was polite, but tense. "The Stellar Federation is willing to help rebuild your damaged worlds. President Kyung-ho was saying to Prime Speaker Velthanis. But the help comes with conditions. Velthanis looked older and more tired than Hyunwoo remembered. The war with the Devourers had broken the pride of the former council species. What conditions? She asked. Equality, President Kyung-ho replied. Simply. Every species has one vote in the new Galactic Assembly. No species rules over any other. All decisions are made by cooperation and consensus. War Marshal Grixvor, who had survived the war but lost most of his fleet, stepped forward. The Korthak Empire accepts these terms, he said. We have learned that strength comes from working together, not from dominating others. One by one, the former council species agreed to join the new system. They had no choice. The Stellar Federation controlled most of the galaxy's military power, trade routes, and advanced technology. But Hyunwoo could see that President Kyung-ho was not interested in revenge or domination. The human leader genuinely wanted to create something better for everyone. We do not want to rule anyone, President Kyung-ho explained to the assembled representatives. We want to work alongside everyone as partners. The galaxy is big enough for all of us to thrive. Chief Diplomat Hae-rin Moon took over the meeting from there. She had spent months preparing for this moment, working with representatives from dozens of species to create a new form of galactic government. The Galactic Assembly will meet on the neutral world of New Geneva, she announced. Every member species will have equal representation. Decisions will be made by majority vote, with protection for minority rights. What about military forces? Asked a representative from the Nethiri, Admiral Sora Kim, who had been promoted after her excellent service during the war, answered that question. Joint defense fleets will protect all member worlds. No single species will control the military. Command positions will rotate based on merit and need. And what about trade? Asked another representative. Open markets for all members, said Industrial Coordinator Woo Jin-bae. Technology sharing programs. Resource distribution based on need rather than political power. Hyunwoo listened to the discussions with satisfaction. This was what he had dreamed of during those dark days after the expulsion. Not revenge against those who had rejected humanity, but a chance to build something better for everyone. The meeting lasted for 3 days. When it ended, 87 species had agreed to join the Galactic Assembly. The remaining holdouts were not opposed to the idea. They just needed time to convince their populations that cooperation was better than isolation. A month later, Hyunwoo attended the opening ceremony of the new Galactic Assembly on New Geneva. The world had been terraformed specifically for this purpose, with environments suitable for every known form of life. The assembly building was a marvel of cooperative engineering. Vextar mathematicians had designed the structural calculations. Luminary energy shapers had created the power systems. Human architects had planned the layout. Rockin builders had constructed the foundation. Dozens of other species had contributed their unique abilities to create something none of them could have built alone. Xenobiologist Jae-sung Lee, now in his 80s but still energetic, gave the opening speech. He had become a symbol of cooperation between different species. 50 years ago, I started my career believing that all intelligent life could work together, he said to the assembled representatives. I was told I was naive and idealistic. Today, I stand before beings from over 100 worlds and I know I was right. The crowd cheered. It included not just the traditional humanoid species but gas clouds, crystalline matrices, hive minds, and energy beings. The diversity was incredible. The old council believed in hierarchy. Jae-sung continued. They thought some species were naturally superior to others. We believe in cooperation. We know that every species has something valuable to contribute. After the ceremony, Hyunwoo walked through the assembly complex with Sora and several other old friends. They passed meeting rooms where former enemies worked together on joint projects. In one room, Althari scientists and human engineers were developing new terraforming techniques. In another, Korthak military advisors and Vextar strategists were planning defense systems for frontier worlds. Do you think it will last? Sora asked. It will last as long as we remember why we built it, Hyunwoo replied. The moment we start thinking we are better than our partners, we become like the old council. They reached the memorial hall, where the names of everyone who died in the Devourer War were recorded. Beings from dozens of species had sacrificed themselves to protect others. The memorial did not distinguish between council species, human allies, or outcasts. They were all remembered equally. Admiral Tai Hyun Choi was there, placing flowers at the base of the memorial. The old warrior had retired after the war but still visited regularly. "Admiral," Hyunwoo said as they approached. Taehyun turned and smiled. "Ambassador, I was just thinking about how different things are now. Better different or worse different? Much better. During the war, I saw what happens when species work together instead of against each other. We accomplished things that none of us could have done alone." They stood together in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Then Taehyun spoke again. "Do you know what the best part is?" he asked. "What? The young ones growing up now will think this is normal. They will not remember a time when species distrusted each other automatically. To them, cooperation will be the natural way of doing things." Hyunwoo thought about that. In human schools, across the galaxy, children learned alongside young beings from other species. They played together, studied together, and solved problems together. When they grew up, they would not see species differences as barriers, but as opportunities. The Sour. Following year, Hyunwoo received an invitation that made him smile. A newly discovered species called the Harmony Weavers had requested admission to the Galactic Assembly. He was asked to lead the first contact team. The Harmony Weavers lived in a system at the edge of explored space. They were unique because they could sense the emotional states of other beings and help resolve conflicts through empathy rather than force. As Hyunwoo's ship approached their homeworld, he thought about how different this first contact would be from the old days. Instead of demanding that the Harmony Weavers change to fit galactic civilization, the assembly would learn from them and adapt to include their unique abilities. The first meeting took place in a beautiful garden on the Harmony Weaver homeworld. Their ambassador was a graceful being who looked like a living sculpture made of flowing water and light. "We have watched the changes in your galaxy," the Harmony Weaver said. "We have seen how you learn to value differences instead of fearing them. This is why we wished to join you." "What can the assembly offer your people?" Hyunwoo asked. "Knowledge, friendship, and the chance to help other species resolve their conflicts peacefully. What can we offer you?" "The same things," Hyunwoo replied. "Knowledge, friendship, and new ways to solve old problems." The Harmony Weaver made a sound like gentle music. "Then we understand each other perfectly." As Hyunwoo flew back to New Geneva with the signed alliance documents, he reflected on the journey that had brought humanity and the galaxy to this point. The old council had expelled humans because they feared change. That expulsion had led to the creation of something far better than what had existed before. The Galactic Assembly was not perfect. There were still conflicts between members, still problems to solve, still challenges to overcome. But now they faced those challenges, together instead of alone. When his ship docked at New Geneva, Hyunwoo was met by President Kyung-ho and several other leaders. "How did it go?" President Kyung-ho asked. "We have a new member species," Hyunwoo reported, "and more importantly, we have new friends." "That seems to be happening a lot lately," President Kyung-ho observed. Hyunwoo looked around at the busy spaceport. Ships from over 100 species were arriving and departing constantly. Trade goods, cultural exchanges, scientific data, and simple friendship flowed between worlds that had once been strangers or enemies. The council was right about one thing, he said finally. "What was that?" "We humans are unpredictable.